everyone, Samia and Anthony here from Signal by Sony, a show all about Sony's games, gadgets, and entertainment. Now, Sony's line of cameras is a big topic of discussion here on Signal, and occasionally we like to get some good photo tips from the pros. Someone like Adam Dean, a freelance photographer whose work has appeared in The New Yorker, Time Magazine, Newsweek, and Rolling Stone.
And I think you'll be surprised to hear that he doesn't normally shoot with a Sony camera, but he was the winner of this year's PDN Sony Emerging Photography Award. Okay, one of his prizes was the Sony A850, and I recently had a chance to go on a photo shoot with him here in the San Francisco Bay Area to see what kind of magic he could make with his new Sony DSLR. So I'm here with Adam Dean, who just won the Sony Emerging Photographer Award. Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you.
So the A850 was a new camera to you. Were there any issues getting adjusted to the new camera or anything surprising about it?
Not really. This is very sort of user-friendly camera. I think anyone who's had any experience using DSLRs should pretty easily be able to use the A850. You know, the functionality and the user interface is very similar to other DSLRs that I've used in the past.
Cool. Yeah, so we just walked around the neighborhood and took some quick photos, but you're known for a very, very different kind of photography than what we did today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you normally shoot?
Yeah, well, I'm primarily a sort of photojournalist covering stories for newspapers and magazines. The award that I've won, the Sony Emerging Photographer Award, is for work I did in Afghanistan.
Obviously, you've been in the middle of some really kind of amazing events and some really powerful things. This was sort of more of just an everyday photo walk, figuring out how to take cool pictures of everyday stuff. So we kind of took you out of your element a little bit. When you're taking pictures in sort of overcast weather, is there anything that you need to know about setting up your camera or any tips you can give us?
Well, in some ways it's actually easier when you've got overcast weather because you don't have the sort of bright, harsh sunlight that you might get in the middle of the day on a clear day. One thing to think about is when there's a lot of overcast, cloudy weather is to maybe boost the ISO a little bit higher. So maybe shoot at 400 or 600 or 800 ISO, depending on how dark it is.
What sort of like base settings do you use when you just take your camera out?
I usually configure it to shoot the highest quality image file possible. So in this case, it's a RAW file.
Okay.
That way, you have so much more control over the post-production, over recovering any images that you might have not exposed correctly. So I would encourage people to, who are serious about photography, to start shooting RAW. We're
in a very kind of flat sort of industrial neighborhood with some very normal objects. It's basically buildings and generators and cars and stuff like that. What are some tips that you have for taking everyday objects and sort of making them seem dynamic?
With digital photography these days, it's so easy to take pictures and it's so cheap. You don't have to process the film. There's no expense really. So don't be afraid to experiment. Think outside the box. Try shooting through different subjects. Try composing images from below, from the left, from the right. Use different angles. Experiment as much as you can is what I'd say.
One place that we went to was a train station where we had a very quick moving train coming at us. Do you have any tips for getting a fast moving subject?
Obviously, if the subject, like in this case the train, is moving fast, you want to freeze the action. You need to shoot at a higher shutter speed. So anything from 500 or maybe even faster if it's really moving quickly.
In your kit, when you're out running around, what kind of lenses do you normally use?
It really depends on the assignment, but typically I use 1 or 2 camera bodies and then fixed prime lenses. So I use a wide-angle 24 lens and a 50mm lens on the second camera. I think for certain applications, I would certainly be happy just using a zoom lens like this from 24 to 70. And I think for non-professional photographers who perhaps don't want to spend a fortune, a zoom lens would be a great starter lens to get with their camera.
I think I definitely learned a couple things that are going to come in handy in the future.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, man.
Cheers.
Well, we want to let you know that if you're a photographer yourself, no matter what level you're at, you can always join the Sony Camera Club on Flickr. All types of Sony cameras are welcome, and if you learned any good tricks from our shoot with Adam Dean, be sure to post your photos to the group pool. We might even show them off in a future episode of Signal.
Yeah, and I'm on the Sony Camera Club as well, so I would love to see what you guys are doing. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. As always, we encourage you to check out sony.com/signal for links to all the products we featured on the show, or you can go to youtube.com/signal to post your comments and questions.
don't hold back.
Tell us everything.
Get it all off your chest. For now, this is Anthony and Samia saying see you next time.